Today I wanted to share with you some of the meditation exercises that I've been working with lately, particularly some of the qigong energy exercises. To start with, you have to have some kind of a cushion like this to get the structure of your hips right. You're going to sit right on the edge of this, right on the very edge of this. You want to open up the hips. You don't need to have lotus position, but you do need to have the ankle here has a little notch, and you want to put that directly under your midline. And then the other ankle has a lump right here that fits in this notch. So it's not up here like a lotus position would be. I'm putting it into the notch of the other foot, and the toes tuck in under the knee. This is called the posture of attainment, because you can sit in this posture for a very long time without straining your back, or you're particularly around the hip region. If you're on the floor without the pad, you're going to end up slouching, and then you're going to end up with a lot of tension in the spine that's very uncomfortable if you're sitting that way for a long period of time. So the first thing is to be able to be tall. Let me take this off. You have to be able to lift and ground at the same time. You have to be able to feel the difference between being empty or filling with energy. So the first thing that we want to do is lean over as like doing a bow. And this is going to stretch out the hip area and the low back, raise the sitting bone, and give you a better posture from which to become very tall. Now, I refer to this as a puppet string. There's a point at the back of the head here where all of the hair swirls around this spot. If that was lifted like a string that everything else in your body is hanging from, that's the feeling that you're looking for. It's a raised up that everything else is loosely hanging below that above. So the hip down here is going to feel like a pendulum hanging from up here. Let's wiggle out the shoulders, get all the tension out of that. I like to go forward before going backwards, because the backwards is really where you want to hold this posture. With the palms facing forward, you can really get an opening of the shoulder feeling. Now, the breathing should not come from the chest. Most people breathe from here. What we want is to first breathe from down here. Once that's completely full, pull that up, and then up into the head. Now everything here is filled. Expand it out through the arms and out through the palms, as if this was blasting out of this point called Lao Gong, like a hose spraying water. Okay, so on an inhale breath, we fill up from here, and then bring it up here, and into the head. And now that everything's full, as if not thinking of breathing out through the mouth, but thinking of this energy coming from here out through the palm. This can be done with an expanding feeling as if you had a ball in front of you, like a balloon that's going to inhale to fill it. And on the exhale, it's a bit of a squeeze that's actually coming from the muscles of the ribs, pulling the elbows in first, and that squeeze waves up. All of this should be very soft, very subtle, without tension. Because what we're trying to do is, without flexing the muscles, we want to maximally fire the nerves. The thought makes a shape. The shape is generated by firing nerves that express the thought. So if you think behind yourself, that's where Lao Gong is going to face, like a headlight. If you think down here, that's where Lao Gong is going to face, like a headlight, here and here. If I think up, that's where that would be facing. If I'm thinking down, that's where that would be facing. But it always waves from here. This fills up, compresses, and then waves it out through the hands. Notice it's this. It's not coming from a push. It's coming from a wave. So, with your hands facing each other, breathe in and feel as if that's a balloon expanding on the in-breath between the palms. Feel as if this is felt by the other side. So that there's a stretching sensation of the space between your hands. You're trying to feel the other side. This hand is feeling that side, and this hand is feeling that side in your mind. As you do this, you can exhale, spraying this water energy feeling from the palm of both hands and crossing in between. This side thinking about feeling that side, and this side thinking about feeling this side. What we're trying to do is, by firing the nerves, you're making a magnetic field. And because these are opposite polarities, opposite sides of your body, there's a charge difference between the two. By this thinking about that, you're actually expanding the field until it interacts with the charge of the other side. And you can feel, through the space between your hands, you can feel this compression on the other side. There's a magnetic repulsion as you press between, and there's a stretching feeling, like a slinky or like some kind of a stretching spring as it expands. You want to compress on an exhale and stretch this on an inhale. If you practice with this for just a little while, just a couple of days, 10 to 15 minutes a day, you'll get enough proficiency that you can start to actually feel the space between the palms and generate a magnetic field that's tangible, at least to you, because you're starting to expand the growth of your nerve fibers. We want to keep the muscles relaxed. We want to make the nerves fire maximally. So imagination helps a lot with this. For example, if you were to think about some kind of a martial arts movie, okay, that would hyper exaggerate the postures that they've choreographed. So you might have something that's, super hyper exaggerated as to where these postures are going to be. If you were to do that very loose and limp, then there's not something that's restraining you, like the actor would probably have too much tension, because they would be trained by some expert that's here, get them to do this scene right, get them to do this movement correctly according to the script of the movie or what have you, right? So to have a posture that tenses at the end would be incorrect. What you want is something that waves from here into whatever posture you're thinking. High, low, to one side, guard low, but cover high. Whatever it is that you're thinking should be loose and limp and relaxed, and for the most part, stays within the silhouette of your body's shape here. All the movements, anything that you do defensively would want to ideally stay within that shape of your silhouette. And it would all want to be loose and limp and waving up from here so that the entire body is involved with this motion. But all of this comes from the basic concept of the inhale expands down here and compresses. And in that compression, you start a wave that feels like it comes out through Lao Gong, like a hose. That would be forward, or down, or up, or out. You don't want anything to be wide, because then you'd be wide open. So everything should be within the proximity of this silhouette of the body's shape. There's out, there's down, up, forward, floating on water feeling. Now this is an interesting one. Expanding from the elbows and kind of waving that out, and then there's a pulling in of the wrists at the very last bit that makes the fingers very sideways. If this is done relaxed, it feels like the hands just floated out on water and totally spread to the maximum stretch. If you relax there for a moment, try to feel a pad underneath your palms, as though they're resting on a cloud. Something's floating them up from underneath rather than you holding it up. If you stay at this posture for a little while and try breathing the inhale in from here, to fill here, condense, and a feel of stretch, waving out through Lao Gong. This has a full stretch and then a very subtle relaxing. you'll start to feel a warmth and a magnetic sensation that feels like it's levitating the hands. The hands get very light in this. You might want to wiggle the shoulders out because that'll get some tension. Try to stay relaxed in everything. Inhale as if pulling in through Lao Gong into here, and then compress this and push it like a wave out through Lao Gong to a full spread, and then relax. Now, turn the palms up and fully stretch. Up from the puppet string. Feel this swinging pendulum effect under the puppet string. Breathe in through Lao Gong into the hara. Compress. And wave out through the palm. To finish up with something that opens in a very round feeling on an inhale. And Lao Gong will face the top of the head, pushing energy so that here is feeling here. I'm making a contact with the back of the spine, and I'm going to push energy down the spine, compressing it and pushing it to compact it into the hara. Gathering. This is on an inhale, breathing in through Lao Gong into the hara. And then on an exhale, it's coming out, reaching here, contacting the energy on the back of the spine, pressing it until there's a magnetic field that you can feel, and then guiding that energy down the spine and compacting it right here. Then we want to finish that off by making a small circle in the direction of the colon, ascending colon, traverse colon, descending colon, and then around in front. There's a little bit of a weight shift here. Gathering and compressing. One hand will be slightly in front of the other so that you can make a dual layer capacitor of this energy. One hand compressing onto the other hand, which is compressing onto the spine. And pressing that energy in without touching. Contact will short this circuit. We want to just feel the field of energy between the hands, not actually touching the other hand. But by thinking about pressing on the spine, you'll feel all the way through the organs of the body. You can use this to heal individual organs. You can compress the energy into the lungs. You can compress the energy into the heart. You can compress it into your kidney area in the backside. Here's where the liver is, the stomach. So your liver is always going to be on this side, and your stomach is always going to be over here. Spleen is on the side of the stomach. behind, guarded by your rib cage. So stomach here, spleen here, making the acids for your stomach. Any of these areas, you can grab the blood without touching it with this magnetic field. You can grab the blood pressing through your body, and you can massage that up or down to smooth out areas that feel stagnated, feeling in that magnetic field that this area feels hollow or this feels dense. And you would smear out the dense into the hollow until everything feels uniform. So this is a way that you can go organ by organ through the body and actually compress an electric field into it that will charge and heal that organ. Anyway, I thought I'd share. I hope you enjoy.